developments in South suburban Dalton today. First, the city comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial.
Unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, yeah.
Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is once again at the center of controversy. This time, the scandal is even more shocking. Rumors are swirling about a dramatic new development in the ongoing saga involving Henyard and her former assistant turned whistleblower, Carmen Carlisle. And then the latest twist is a tale of betrayal, corruption, and an alleged attempt on Carlisle's life. Could Mayor Henyard truly have gone so far as to hire gang members to silence the one person privy to all her secrets? It's a story that seems ripped from the pages of a crime thriller, but this is Dalton, and in this small Illinois town, anything appears possible. As the drama unfolds, the details grow murkier, raising questions about the extent of the alleged corruption and the lengths Henyard might go to protect herself. The stakes have never been higher, and the tension in Dalton is palpable. Stay tuned as this gripping saga continues to unravel, exposing the secrets, schemes, and scandals behind the scenes.
Has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands.
Who is Carmen Carlisle, and why has she become the center of attention in Dalton? Carmen wasn't always the whistleblower disrupting local politics. Once a trusted confidant and assistant to Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Carmen had a front-row seat to the mayor's most sensitive dealings. For a time, she appeared firmly entrenched in Henyard's inner circle, enjoying the privileges of power. Allegedly, she also benefited from questionable schemes involving the misuse of city funds for personal gain. Seen as a key ally with access to the secrets of an administration already under scrutiny, Carmen's loyalty seemed unwavering until it wasn't. In a stunning reversal, she turned on her former boss, choosing to expose Henyard rather than share her fate. While some interpret this as an act of self-preservation rather than moral courage, the impact of Carmen's decision has been seismic. Her revelations have brought forth damning allegations of financial misconduct and a leadership style rife with impropriety. The fallout has further damaged Henyard's reputation, amplifying calls for accountability and reform in Dalton. Public opinion on Carmen remains divided. Some hail her as a hero taking a stand for justice, while others view her as an opportunist who acted only when it served her interests. Regardless of her motives, Carmen's whistleblowing has intensified the drama surrounding Henyard's administration, thrusting new controversies into the spotlight. Carmen's actions have undeniably shifted the political discourse in Dalton, making her a pivotal figure in the town's unfolding saga. Whether seen as a savior or a strategist, her decision to expose Henyard's alleged misconduct has forever changed the course of Dalton's political landscape.
Appointment, that's what the trustees I've talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next.
Who is Carmen Carlisle, and why has she become the center of attention in Dalton? Carmen wasn't always the whistleblower stirring up local politics. Once a loyal confidant and trusted assistant to Mayor Tiffany Henyard, she occupied a privileged position within the mayor's inner circle. Carmen had a front-row seat to some of Henyard's most sensitive dealings, seemingly content to enjoy the perks of power. For a time, she was seen as a key ally to Henyard, with alleged involvement in questionable schemes misusing city funds for personal benefit. However, everything changed when Carmen made a dramatic shift. Rather than going down with the embattled mayor, she chose to expose Henyard's actions, setting off a political firestorm. Many interpret Carmen's actions as a calculated move of self-preservation, rather than a selfless stand for justice. Her decision to turn on Henyard has brought to light a cache of damaging information, painting a grim picture of financial misconduct and a leadership style plagued by impropriety. These revelations have further damaged Henyard's already tarnished reputation and sent shockwaves through Dalton. Opinions about Carmen are sharply divided. Supporters view her as a hero taking a stand for accountability, while critics see her as an opportunist who only spoke out when it suited her interests. Regardless of her motivations, Carmen's decision to turn against Henyard has added fuel to the fire surrounding the mayor's administration. Her whistleblowing has thrust new controversies and questions into Dalton's political discourse, intensifying the scrutiny on Henyard and deepening the town's political crisis. Whether Carmen is seen as a savior or a strategist, one thing is clear: her actions have irrevocably altered the political landscape of Dalton.
Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts.
To understand why Tiffany Henyard seems so desperate to silence Carmen Carlisle, one must consider the mounting accusations against the embattled mayor. Henyard has been under intense scrutiny, facing serious allegations of corruption and financial mismanagement. These claims depict a troubling narrative of taxpayer money being used for personal indulgence rather than the needs of Dalton. Among the most shocking revelations is Henyard's alleged spending spree of $33,000 in a single day on Amazon. This jaw-dropping figure has left residents outraged, questioning how such extravagance could be justified in a town already grappling with financial woes. But the Amazon spree is only part of the story. Henyard is also accused of racking up dubious charges on the town's credit cards, including high-end purchases from retailers like Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair. These expenses, which appear to lack any legitimate connection to the town's needs, have further fueled suspicions that Henyard has been using public funds for personal gain. The absence of transparency and oversight has amplified the anger of Dalton's residents, who are left wondering how their tax dollars have been so egregiously misused. As these allegations continue to pile up, Henyard's credibility has taken a severe hit. Her growing desperation to maintain control and avoid consequences is evident. This is where Carmen Carlisle's role as a whistleblower becomes so pivotal. Once a trusted ally with intimate knowledge of Henyard's administration, Carlisle now holds critical information that could expose the full scope of the alleged misconduct. For Henyard, Carlisle's cooperation with federal investigators poses an existential threat. Should Carlisle's testimony become public, it could irreparably damage Henyard's political career and lead to legal consequences, including potential prison time. Henyard's panic and attempts to silence Carlisle stem from the fear that these revelations could propel Dalton's financial scandal onto the national stage. This level of exposure would not only cement her political downfall, but also subject her to criminal prosecution. The lengths to which Henyard might go to protect herself, whether through intimidation or other extreme measures, reflect the gravity of her situation. Her attempts to cover up her actions seem driven by self-preservation, regardless of the harm inflicted on Dalton and its residents. As the investigation progresses, the stakes for Henyard, Carlisle, and the people of Dalton continue to rise. The unfolding drama underscores the devastating impact of unchecked power and the urgent need for transparency and accountability in governance.
Make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
under Tiffany Henyard's leadership, Dalton's financial situation has plummeted from a healthy surplus of $561 million to a staggering deficit of $3.65 million. This catastrophic decline has left the town in financial disarray, forcing residents to endure worsening conditions while demanding accountability. Henyard's management of public funds has sparked widespread outrage, with taxpayers questioning how their money has been squandered with no discernible benefit to the community. Amid this financial turmoil, Henyard, who self-styles as the super mayor and people's supervisor, now faces an even greater threat: her former ally, Carmen Carlisle. Once a close confidant, Carlisle has turned whistleblower, testifying against Henyard and threatening to dismantle her political empire. Carmen's testimony is particularly damning because of her insider knowledge. She was not only a witness but reportedly a participant in some of the alleged misconduct she now attributes to Henyard. This betrayal has left Henyard rattled. Carmen's evidence could result in serious criminal charges and even significant jail time for the mayor if it proves credible. The prospect of losing her position is overshadowed by the looming threat of legal consequences, which has intensified Henyard's desperation to maintain her grip on power. Henyard's troubles don't end with Carmen's testimony. She is also facing mounting pressure from other adversaries, including Lori Lightfoot, the former mayor of Chicago. Lightfoot has been hired to lead a special investigation into Henyard's questionable financial practices. Despite Henyard's attempts to block the investigation, claiming it is an unconstitutional infringement on mayoral authority, the town board overrode her objections, and Lightfoot is proceeding with the probe. The combination of Carlisle's explosive testimony and Lightfoot's investigation has placed Henyard's administration in an untenable position. As federal investigators, whistleblowers, and political rivals close in, Henyard's attempts to suppress the truth are unraveling. Her efforts to maintain control appear increasingly futile as the evidence against her grows. Dalton's future now hangs in the balance. With the mayor fighting for her political survival, the stakes have never been higher. Residents are watching closely, hopeful that this turning point will bring accountability and a brighter path forward for their beleaguered town.
It's shameful. Y'all are afraid.
We're watching all of this.
The ongoing investigation into Tiffany Henyard's administration in Dalton reveals a damning picture. The town's budget is not just mismanaged, it is riddled with unexplained expenses, pointing to large-scale misuse of public funds. Yet, despite the mounting allegations, Henyard continues to wield significant power, seemingly untouched by the consequences of her actions. Observers claim that Henyard has fortified her position through a mix of patronage and intimidation, keeping allies loyal and silencing dissenters. Her ability to maintain control, even as local police and federal investigators flood the town, has left many baffled. One particularly chilling theory suggests that Henyard may have ties to the local criminal underworld. This speculation gained traction after the alleged attack on Carmen Carlisle, Henyard's former ally turned whistleblower. For many, the idea of Henyard leveraging criminal elements to protect her power no longer seems implausible, especially given her reported misuse of taxpayer funds for luxury trips and extravagant shopping sprees. The notion that local gangs could be involved in carrying out Henyard's dirty work, including silencing opponents, has become a grim possibility for Dalton's residents. While this theory remains speculative, it aligns disturbingly well with a pattern of questionable spending, an apparent lack of accountability, and escalating violence linked to her administration. Reports of Henyard's ability to sidestep legal and political repercussions have only fueled suspicions. Many now wonder whether her grip on Dalton extends beyond political maneuvering and is deeply entangled with illicit networks operating beneath the surface. As federal investigators and local residents continue to uncover the extent of Henyard's alleged wrongdoing, the question of how far she might go to preserve her power remains unsettling. With the threat of further revelations looming, the full scope of her influence and the forces that sustain it remains a troubling mystery for the people of Dalton.
Yes, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered mayor.
Mayor Henyard's tenure in Dalton has become the epicenter of controversy, with her past and present actions drawing increasing scrutiny. Once linked to criminal elements, Henyard was jailed for automobile trespassing in 2016. This history, coupled with allegations of her willingness to use force to achieve her aims, paints a chilling portrait of a leader accused of clinging to power at any cost. The town of Dalton is bearing the brunt of this turmoil. Rumors abound that Henyard may have even plotted attacks on political rivals who dared to criticize her publicly. Once an affluent community, Dalton now faces significant debt and growing disillusionment among residents. The ongoing FBI investigation has unearthed troubling evidence of mismanagement and corruption, including allegations that Henyard diverted public funds for personal indulgences such as first-class flights, luxury hotel stays, and an extravagant security detail. This lavish spending contrasts sharply with the lack of visible benefits to Dalton's residents, fueling frustration and anger. During a recent town meeting, one resident's cutting remarks captured the town's sentiment: "You're not accountable, you don't respect people who disagree with you, and you're not qualified for this seat." Public outcry is escalating, with calls for Henyard's resignation intensifying. Protests, petitions, and discussions of a recall election reflect the community's growing impatience. As state and federal authorities delve deeper into Henyard's administration, the evidence of misconduct continues to mount. Investigators allege a systematic misuse of taxpayer money to fund Henyard's lifestyle, further alienating her constituents. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard remains defiant, dismissing the allegations as baseless attacks orchestrated by political enemies and disgruntled ex-employees. However, the shifting alliances of former allies, like whistleblower Carmen Carlisle, complicate her position. Carlisle, once a staunch supporter, now provides testimony that bolsters the investigation, though her motives are viewed with skepticism by some. Critics suggest Carlisle's cooperation is a calculated move to avoid prosecution for her own involvement in the alleged corruption. This unfolding drama reveals a governance system in Dalton teetering on collapse. Investigations suggest that Henyard's alleged corruption extended far beyond her office, implicating others who either enabled her behavior or turned a blind eye. As the investigations progress, more individuals may face accountability, deepening the town's crisis. Dalton's residents, betrayed by their mayor's perceived arrogance and disregard for their concerns, are demanding justice. The financial mismanagement and misuse of public funds have pushed the town to a tipping point. Whether Henyard's removal comes through legal action or public revolt remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the people of Dalton are no longer willing to tolerate leadership they see as unscrupulous and self-serving. As for Carmen Carla, whether her actions are those of a true whistleblower or an opportunist protecting herself from prosecution remains an open question. The drama surrounding Dalton is far from over, and its resolution will likely leave a lasting impact on the town and its residents.